Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. Y&R Early Week Spoilers November 3rd to 7th, Sharon's Danger, Noah Awakens, Victor's Demand. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of November 3rd reveal some twists. Fans can expect Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, to go down a dangerous road. Want more of The Young and the Restless? Get updates on the latest news about The Young and the Restless, straight to your inbox. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising, as outlined in our privacy notice. What is this? Noah Newman, Lucas Adams, finally wakes up. Plus, Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, demands answers. Keep reading and let's talk about what is coming up in the CBS soap opera. Sharon Newman's Danger. Let's start off with Sharon, who will embark on a quest to find out the truth about her son's accident. Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, has already asked his father to look into Sienna Bacall, Tamara Braun. Fans just watched as Victor gave that task to Michael Baldwin, Christian LeBlanc. Nick also mentioned to Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott, over the phone that he got an odd feeling from Detective Burrows, Matt Cohen. Sharon will search for the truth and it leads her down a dangerous road. Could Sharon end up crossing paths with Sienna's husband, Mitch Bacall, Roger Howarth? Sharon Newman's Danger. Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. In Genoa City, danger always seems to lurk just around the corner, and this time, it's coming straight for Sharon Newman. The beloved coffeehouse owner, therapist, and mother has faced every imaginable obstacle over the years, from mental health struggles to fiery romances gone wrong, but this new threat could shatter everything she's built. As whispers of a looming danger grow louder, Sharon's calm and compassionate world is about to spiral into a chaos that even she might not escape from unscathed. It starts subtly, a few unsettling moments at Crimson Lights. Sharon, ever the picture of grace and warmth, notices things others might overlook. A strange car parked too long outside, the flicker of a figure in the reflection of the window, the uneasy feeling that someone's watching her every move. At first, she brushes it off. Genoa City has its fair share of curious eyes and gossipmongers, and Sharon has been through enough to know better than to jump to conclusions. But when the anonymous phone calls start, things take a darker turn. Late at night, when the cafe is empty and the lights dimmed, the phone rings. The voice on the other end is distorted, male, perhaps, or maybe disguised. The words are chilling, "You can't save everyone, Sharon." Then the line goes dead. It's not long before Sharon's loved ones begin to notice her unease. Mariah, fiercely protective of her mother, demands answers. Faith, still away at school but in frequent contact, senses the change in Sharon's tone over the phone. Nick Newman, her eternal protector and on-again, off-again love, grows increasingly concerned. He knows that look in Sharon's eyes, the one that says she's putting on a brave face to keep everyone else calm. Nick, never one to back down from a threat, vows to keep an eye on her. But Sharon, independent and determined, insists she's fine. After all, she's survived stalkers, breakdowns, and heartbreak. She refuses to live in fear again. Yet the tension in the air is impossible to ignore. When a brick crashes through the front window of Crimson Lights one evening with a note attached, "You took something that wasn't yours," Sharon realizes this isn't random. Someone is targeting her, and it's personal. The question is, who? Sharon's history makes the list of suspects long and complicated. Could it be Cameron Kirsten, somehow returning from the grave? Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. His horrifying reign of terror still haunts her dreams. Or perhaps someone tied to Adam Newman, whose connection with Sharon always seems to bring trouble. There's also Chance Chancellor, who's been close to Sharon lately. Could their budding friendship, or perhaps something deeper, have drawn the wrong kind of attention? Then there's the possibility that the danger is tied to her past work as a therapist. Sharon's compassion has saved many lost souls, but not all of them have been grateful. One of her former patients could easily have misinterpreted her kindness or twisted her words into obsession. When the police get involved, it's Ray Rosales' brother, Chance, who steps up to protect Sharon. The irony isn't lost on anyone. Sharon still carries Ray's memory close to her heart, and now his brother has become her guardian. As the investigation deepens, Chance uncovers a chilling pattern. The messages and threats match those of an unsolved stalking case from years ago. The suspect, never caught, had fixated on women who had publicly helped others, social workers, therapists, counselors, all women who had been praised for their empathy. Sharon fits that profile perfectly. As Crimson Lights becomes a scene of tension, Nick increases his visits, often staying late just to make sure Sharon isn't alone. Old feelings resurface, stirring emotions Sharon thought she had buried long ago. She tries to keep her composure, but the fear in her eyes betrays her calm demeanor. And then, the unthinkable happens. Sharon vanishes. One morning, Mariah arrives at Crimson Lights to find the lights still on, coffee half poured, and Sharon's phone buzzing on the counter. Panic sets in. Nick and Chance immediately spring into action, combing through every clue. Security footage shows Sharon locking up the night before, and then, minutes later, a shadowy figure approaching from the parking lot. The image is grainy, but the outline is unmistakable, someone wearing a hooded jacket, their face obscured. The search for Sharon becomes Genoa City's top story. Everyone rallies around: Nick, Mariah, Faith, Noah, even Adam and Phyllis. For once, rivalries are set aside as the community unites in fear and desperation. Nick blames himself for not protecting her, while Adam, haunted by guilt, please subscribe and like the video before continuing, insists he'll stop at nothing to find her. In the darkness, Sharon awakens in a dimly lit room, tied to a chair. The voice from the phone calls now speaks from the shadows. You help people who don't deserve it. You fix broken things that should stay broken. Sharon, terrified but defiant, tries to reason with her captor. Her therapist instincts kick in. She listens, analyzes, and searches for the humanity buried beneath the madness. The man steps into the light, revealing a familiar face. It's a former patient, someone Sharon once counseled, a man whose violent tendencies she had tried to help suppress. He blames her for everything that went wrong afterward, convinced she manipulated his mind. Sharon's calm voice and compassionate nature become her greatest weapon. As hours turn into days, she slowly works to break through to him, using every ounce of empathy and psychological skill she has. Meanwhile, Chance and Nick close in on the kidnapper's identity, tracing patterns and clues back to one of Sharon's old cases. The tension builds as they race against time, fearing they'll find her too late. In the end, it's Sharon's strength that saves her. She manages to untie herself during one of her captor's breakdowns, sneaking away into the night and using the wilderness around her as cover. Injured but determined, she finds a deserted road, just as Nick's car appears in the distance. Their reunion is emotional and raw, with Nick rushing to her side, holding her as she collapses in relief. Back in Genoa City, Sharon struggles to process the trauma. Though physically safe, she's shaken to her core. But Sharon Newman has always been resilient. She channels her pain into purpose, turning her experience into advocacy for women's safety and mental health awareness. Her story becomes one of survival, courage, and emotional rebirth. Chance stays close, supporting her as a friend, perhaps something more. Nick, though torn by his own emotions, is proud of Sharon's strength. Even Faith and Mariah, still worried, find comfort in seeing their mother return to her compassionate self. The danger might have passed, but its impact lingers, changing Sharon forever. She vows never to let fear silence her again. And yet, in true Genoa City fashion, a final twist lingers. A letter. Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. Arrives at Crimson Lights weeks later. It's unsigned, and the message is simple: you survived this time. Sharon's heart skips a beat as she reads it. The camera pans to her face, composed, but wary. Is the nightmare truly over? Or is Sharon Newman's danger far from done? In the heart of Genoa City, no one ever really escapes their past. And as Sharon sips her coffee, eyes scanning the horizon, one thing is clear: the next chapter of her life will test her strength like never before. Noah Newman awakens. Over with Noah, he will finally wake up. That will be a huge relief to Noah's loved ones, including Nick, Sharon, Victor, Nikki, Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, and even Claire Grace Newman, Haley Aaron. What is this? However, I wonder if Noah waking up might cause a complication for Sienna and Mitch, perhaps even Holden Novak, Nathan Owens? Noah's family will want answers, but there is a good chance he might not remember. At least, that is what he will claim. Noah Newman awakens. In Genoa City, life often changes in the blink of an eye, but no one could have anticipated the stunning twist that came when Noah Newman suddenly awakened after months of uncertainty. For weeks, the Newman family had been living in a painful limbo, clinging to the hope that Noah would open his eyes after the accident that left him unconscious. Now, that hope has finally turned into a miracle, but as with all things connected to the Newmans, miracles rarely come without complications. The moment Noah's eyes flutter open at Memorial Hospital, the air in his room changes. Sharon Newman gasps softly, her hands trembling as she grips his arm, whispering his name through tears. Nick, please subscribe and like the video before continuing. Newman stands frozen, disbelief etched on his face, while Mariah rushes to the bedside, calling out for the doctors. The once silent monitors suddenly feel alive with sound, beeping steadily as Noah blinks, confused but aware. Mom? His voice is raspy, weak, but it's enough to send waves of emotion through the room. Sharon breaks down, tears of joy streaming down her face as she tells him how much they've missed him. It's a moment that Genoa City won't soon forget, the prodigal son awakening after being trapped between life and death. But as Noah regains consciousness, questions begin to swirl. What caused the crash that nearly killed him? Was it really an accident, or is there more to the story? Sharon and Nick have been told countless times that it was a tragic twist of fate, a slick patch of rain, a wrong turn, a moment's distraction, but deep down, they both feel something doesn't add up. And when Noah starts remembering fragments of the night in question, things take a darker turn. The memories come slowly, in flashes, headlights in the distance, the sound of screeching tires, a figure in the road, and then impact. Noah jolts awake at night, sweat dripping down his face, the haunting vision of someone standing in front of his car refusing to fade. Sharon, ever the comforting mother, insists he take things slowly, but Nick can't ignore the suspicion brewing in his mind. Someone wanted Noah silenced, but why? As Noah's recovery begins, so too does the Newman family's renewed unity. Faith flies home from college, eager to see her brother, while Mariah practically moves into the hospital to keep him company. Even Victor Newman, the patriarch himself, visits often, his stoic face softening ever so slightly as he tells Noah, "You're a fighter, just like your old man." But behind that proud exterior, Victor is already plotting. The Newmans have been targeted too many times before for him to believe this was coincidence. He quietly assigns his security team to dig into the circumstances surrounding Noah's accident, the route he took, who he met before leaving, and whether anyone might have tampered with his vehicle. Meanwhile, Noah begins therapy to rebuild his strength, both physically and emotionally. His sessions bring him closer to Sharon, who's also dealing with her own. Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. Recent trauma from being targeted herself. The mother and son find comfort in each other's resilience, sharing late-night conversations about second chances and forgiveness. But Noah also carries guilt for leaving Genoa City in the first place, for running from heartbreak, and for the pain his absence caused. His relationship with Allie, once a bright spot in his life, is now a bittersweet memory. When she returns to see him after hearing of his awakening, the reunion is both tender and tense. Allie is relieved, but she's changed, more focused, more grounded. The chemistry between them still burns, but the distance of time and pain lingers between every word. "You scared me, Noah," she whispers, eyes glistening. I didn't think I'd ever get to say goodbye. You don't have to, he replies softly, though his voice carries uncertainty. Their connection reignites something in him, a reminder that love can survive even the darkest nights. But their moment of peace doesn't last. Adam Newman enters the picture, drawn by the family's turmoil and perhaps a hint of jealousy. He's genuinely concerned for his nephew, but his presence always complicates matters. Victor, as always, uses the opportunity to manipulate, seeing Adam's involvement as a chance to test loyalties. Nick warns Adam to stay out of it, but Adam, defiant, reminds him that family means something, even to him. While the Newman family grapples with emotion and tension, a new mystery brews. Chance Chancellor, now back on the GCPD case roster, visits Noah to go over the details of the crash. He shows Noah photos of the accident site, hoping to jog his memory. That's when Noah points out something chilling, a car parked just beyond the crash site, one that was never accounted for in the investigation. Chance begins digging, discovering that the car's license plate traces back to a shell company recently linked to Newman Media's competitors. Victor's suspicion deepens. Someone wanted Noah gone, perhaps as leverage against the family empire. When Sharon learns this, she's devastated but not surprised. Her family has been under threat before, but this feels different, targeted, personal. Noah, determined not to let fear control him, insists on helping uncover the truth. As he grows, please subscribe and like the video before continuing. Stronger, he begins visiting the crash site, retracing his steps, confronting his trauma head-on. It's there that he finds a small, broken piece of metal buried near the impact point, not from his car, but from another vehicle. He brings it to Chance, who sends it for forensic testing. The results send shockwaves through Genoa City. The metal fragment matches the car of a known associate of Jordan, the dangerous woman. Connected to the Newman family's past scandals. Jordan had vanished months ago, presumed dead or in hiding. But what if she's back, seeking revenge through the one person Sharon and Nick love most? Sharon's fears explode anew. She thought the nightmare was over, but now she realizes that someone has been lurking, waiting for the perfect moment to strike again. As the investigation tightens, Victor and Nick both step into protective overdrive, installing extra security around the Newman homes and crimson lights. Noah, though grateful, feels trapped. He wants to live freely, not as a perpetual target. But his bravery could come at a cost. Late one night, Noah sneaks out to clear his head at the lake where he once spent peaceful days painting and reflecting. There, he senses someone watching. The woods are silent, but his instincts scream danger. Suddenly, a shadow moves, and a woman's voice whispers from behind, "You were supposed to stay asleep." Noah turns, only to see the flash of a figure running off into the darkness. The next morning, he tells Nick and Chance what happened, and they realize the threat is still very real. This time, the Newmans won't sit back. A trap is set, with Chance and Victor coordinating to lure the mysterious assailant into the open. Sharon, though terrified for her son's safety, supports the plan, trusting that justice is within reach. In a tense final showdown near the crash site, the figure returns, and it's revealed to be Jordan's former accomplice, acting under orders to finish the job. When cornered, he confesses that Jordan is indeed alive and watching, planning her next move from the shadows. The realization sends a chill through everyone. Noah's awakening wasn't the end of the story, it was the beginning of a new battle. As the criminal is taken away, the Newman family gathers once more, shaken but united. Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. Sharon holds Noah close, whispering how proud she is of his strength. Nick and Victor exchange a rare look of mutual understanding. Their family may be complicated, but it's unbreakable. Back at Crimson Lights, Noah begins painting again, capturing his journey, the light and the darkness, the pain and the rebirth. Allie visits, and for the first time in a long while, they share laughter instead of tears. "You came back to me," she says softly. "I guess I just needed to wake up," he smiles. As the scene closes, Sharon watches from the window, her eyes filled with both relief and apprehension. The family has survived another storm, but she can't shake the feeling that Genoa City's shadows still hold secrets waiting to surface. Somewhere out there, Jordan is watching, plotting, biding her time. And though Noah has awakened, his true fight, for peace, for love, and for his family's safety, is just beginning. Victoria Newman's grilling session. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of November 3rd reveal that Victoria will put Claire through a grilling session. The mother is concerned about her daughter's recent decisions. While the blonde is having some fun with Holden, Victoria could worry that things might spiral out of control. Claire will insist she has everything under control and might call out her mother for giving Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, her location, Victoria Newman's grilling session. In Genoa City, power and secrets go hand in hand, and no one knows how to navigate that dangerous balance better than Victoria Newman. The Newman Enterprises CEO has faced scandals, betrayals, and heartbreaks, yet she's always managed to keep her head high and her company thriving. But this week, Victoria finds herself under and please subscribe and like the video before continuing. Entirely different kind of pressure, a grilling session that could expose more than just business secrets. When the morning sun glimmers over the gleaming towers of Newman Enterprises, the air inside Victoria's office feels unusually tense. She sits at her desk, crisp and composed in her signature tailored suit, yet there's a flicker of unease behind her eyes. Across from her, a team of corporate investigators from an independent audit committee, hand-picked by Victor himself, prepares to question her about recent irregularities in the company's overseas accounts. Rumors have been swirling for weeks about potential misconduct, and whispers suggest Victoria's recent decisions may have crossed lines even Victor Newman wouldn't approve of. But this grilling session isn't just about numbers, it's about power, loyalty, and how far one Newman will go to protect the family legacy. The boardroom fills quickly. Nate Hastings takes a seat near the back, clearly uneasy. Once Victoria's trusted partner, in business and briefly in love, Nate's position has become complicated. His loyalty to her is unquestionable, but with Victor now pulling strings behind the scenes, Nate knows one wrong word could destroy both their careers. Nick Newman enters next, his expression a mixture of brotherly concern and corporate wariness. He's not here to attack his sister, but he can't deny that her recent moves, the secretive deal with an unnamed investor and the sudden spike in offshore funding, have raised eyebrows. When Victor finally arrives, the temperature in the room drops. The patriarch's presence commands silence. He takes his seat at the head of the table, his gaze sharp and unreadable. "Let's begin," he says in that deep, authoritative tone that sends chills even through seasoned executives. The first question hits like a hammer. "Victoria," says the lead investigator, "can you explain the recent $10 million transfer to a holding company in Zurich that has no listed operations under Newman Enterprises?" Without missing a beat, Victoria crosses her legs and leans forward. "That transfer was part of a confidential merger negotiation," she replies coolly. "One that was approved by my department and consistent with our expansion strategy." And yet, the investigator presses, "There's no please subscribe and like the video before continuing. Documentation of that approval." The silence that follows is heavy. Nick shifts uncomfortably, Nate looks down. Victor's face remains stone still, but his fingers tap against the table, a rare tell that his patience is thinning. Victoria feels his eyes on her, but she refuses to waver. She's been in this position before, backed into a corner, her decisions questioned, her authority challenged. But this time, the stakes feel higher. Rumor has it someone inside the company is leaking information to Newman Media's competitors, and the trail of suspicious activity might point straight to her office. As the questioning intensifies, Victoria's sharp intellect and icy composure keep her one step ahead. She provides just enough information to sound cooperative, but not enough to expose her true intentions. Beneath the surface, though, her mind races. The Zurich transfer wasn't random, it was connected to a risky move she made to secure control over a tech startup that could redefine Newman's future. If Victor finds out she went behind his back to do it, the fallout could be catastrophic. Meanwhile, outside the boardroom, whispers spread like wildfire. Audra Charles lurks near the hallway, pretending to review documents, but her sharp ears catch bits of the conversation. She's been digging into Newman business dealings for weeks, eager to reclaim her lost power after being pushed out by both Nate and Victoria. Now, she senses blood in the water. If Victoria's empire crumbles, Audra knows exactly how to capitalize on it. Back inside, the tension boils over when one of the auditors presents a copy of an internal memo, one Victoria never meant for anyone outside her circle to see. The memo outlines a plan to consolidate divisions, potentially putting several long-time Newman employees out of work. Nick frowns as he reads it, recognizing the cold efficiency of his sister's strategy but not the ruthlessness behind it. "Victoria," he says quietly, this isn't like you. You're talking about cutting families off just to save a few million." Her jaw tightens. "It's not about saving millions, Nick. It's about positioning Newman Enterprises for the future. Sentimentality doesn't drive profits. Neither does alienating your people," he shoots back. Victor intervenes before the argument escalates. "Enough," he says, "voice please subscribe and like the video before continuing." Booming. This is not about emotions. It's about results. But even as he defends his daughter's right to make tough decisions, there's a glint of suspicion in his eyes. He knows Victoria, and he knows that when she's hiding something, she doubles down on confidence. The grilling continues for hours. Questions about ethics, partnerships, and authorization fly from every direction. By the time the session ends, Victoria feels the weight of every word pressing against her. Yet outwardly, she remains unshaken. When the investigators finally leave, Victor stays seated. "Close the door," he orders. Nick hesitates, then obeys. The silence that follows is suffocating. Victor turns to his daughter, eyes narrowing. "Now tell me the truth, Victoria. What are you not saying?" For a long moment, she doesn't respond. Then, finally, she exhales, choosing her words carefully. "I made a move, one that could secure our legacy for decades to come. But I didn't go through the board. They wouldn't have approved it in time. You went behind my back," Victor says flatly. "To make us stronger," she insists. "You taught me that sometimes, leadership means taking risks no one else will." Nick interjects, "And if it blows up, we all pay the price." But Victor leans back, studying his daughter with an unreadable expression. "You have your mother's fire," he says quietly. "And my ambition. That's both your gift and your curse." The confrontation ends without resolution, but the air between them crackles with tension. Victoria leaves the boardroom with her head high, but the moment she's alone, the mask cracks. She presses her hands against the elevator wall, breathing heavily. She knows this is far from over. Later that night, she meets Nate at society. He's waiting at the bar, concern written all over his face. "You handled yourself like a pro," he says softly. "But they're not done digging, are they?" She shakes her head. "No. And if they find out what I did, about the merger, it won't just be my job on the line." "You did what you thought was right," he says. "For the company. And for me," she admits quietly. "I needed to prove I could lead without my father's shadow hanging over me." Nate takes her hand, his voice low. "You already have. But be careful." Victor doesn't forgive betrayal, even from his favorite child. Across town, Audra meets with a mysterious associate, one who's been feeding her inside. Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. Information. She slides a flash drive across the table. "This has everything," she says. Victoria Newman's off-the-books dealings, her Zurich transfers, her merger plans. By the time the board gets this, she'll be out. Her contact smirks. And who takes her place? We'll see, Audra replies, her eyes glinting. Back at Newman Enterprises, Victor reviews his private files. He's already had his tech team trace the Zurich account, and the name that pops up makes his blood run cold. The holding company ties back to an old rival of the Newman family. Someone Victoria thought she could control. My daughter, he mutters under his breath, you've let a snake into the garden. The next morning, Victoria arrives at her office to find Victor waiting. He's holding a folder. I told you the truth, she says defensively. Not all of it, he replies. He tosses the folder onto her desk. Inside are documents linking her secret investment to a company once owned by Ashland Locke. The shock in her eyes says it all. You didn't, Victor growls. You brought back a piece of Locke's legacy into my company? It wasn't about him, she protests. It was about innovation. About not letting the past dictate the future. You are your father's daughter, he says coldly. But don't forget, I built this empire on control. And I will not let you destroy it. Their showdown ends with a silent truce, but everyone in Genoa City knows what's coming next, a Newman civil war. In the aftermath, Victoria sits alone in her office, staring at the city skyline. She's bruised but unbroken, questioning whether her ambition has finally crossed the line. She's fought for everything she's achieved, but now, the cost may be too high. Yet even as the shadows of doubt creep in, her phone buzzes with a message from her Zurich contact, Phase 2 ready when you are. A slow smile spreads across her face. Victoria Newman may be under fire, but she's far from finished. The grilling session may have shaken her throne, but if history has taught Genoa City anything, it's that when Victoria is cornered, she always fights back, and this time, the Queen is ready to rewrite the game. Victor Newman's demand. Back over in Genoa City, expect the Abbott family to take extreme measures to protect Jabot. While Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, is about to drop a bombshell on Victor, the Newman patriarch will demand answers of his own. What is this? Will Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, truly get everything she wants, or could this backfire on her in the worst way? In any case, it seems that Phyllis could spice up her dynamic with Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, so stay tuned. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most during the week of November 3, 2025? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Victor Newman's demand. Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. When Victor Newman issues a demand, Genoa City listens. The legendary patriarch of the Newman Empire has spent decades building power, crushing rivals, and keeping his family under his unyielding control. But this time, his demand isn't just about business, it's about loyalty, legacy, and survival. The great Victor Newman is once again making his mark, and the shockwaves from his latest decree will shake every corner of the Newman dynasty. The story begins in the heart of Newman Enterprises, where tension simmers beneath the polished surface. The morning sun streams through the glass towers of Genoa City as Victor strides into the building, his presence commanding silence. Employees straighten in their chairs, whispers fading as his familiar, deliberate footsteps echo down the corridor. At 80, Victor remains as formidable as ever. His health may have faltered in the past, but his mind is sharper than a blade, and his determination burns brighter than ever. He calls an emergency meeting, one that none of the Newmans saw coming. Victoria, Nick, Adam, and even Abby are summoned to the top floor. When they arrive, the air is thick with unease. Victor sits at the head of the table, eyes hard, his tone colder than usual. I've made a decision, he begins. And I expect no arguments. Nick exchanges wary glances with Victoria. Adam leans back in his chair, smirking, knowing that whenever Victor makes an unannounced declaration, chaos usually follows. But even Adam can't predict what comes next. Victor slowly stands, placing both hands on the table. It's time, he says, for me to decide who truly deserves to carry the Newman legacy forward. Silence follows. Victoria blinks, unsure if she heard correctly. Abby shifts uncomfortably. Adam's smirk fades. What do you mean? Nick finally asks. I mean, Victor says, voice tightening, I want each of you to prove your loyalty. I want to know which of you is worthy of what I've built. The room erupts. Victoria demands to know if he's testing them again. Nick shakes his head in disbelief. Adam chuckles darkly. So this is another one of your games, huh, old man? You pit us against each other just to see who cracks first. Victor's glare silences him instantly. You think this is a game? I built an empire while you were all learning how to crawl. I've bled for this family. And lately, I've seen cracks, too many secrets, too much betrayal. That ends now. Victoria rises from her chair, her voice firm but controlled. If this is about business, I've proven myself over and over again. Newman Enterprises is stronger than ever under my leadership. Victor's lips tighten. It's not just about business, Victoria. It's about trust. Nick frowns. You don't trust us? I trust no one who puts their ego before the family name, Victor says sharply. His words hang heavy, directed at more than one of them. Adam rolls his eyes but doesn't speak. Abby looks between them, hurt and confused. Dad, what are you asking us to do? Victor turns toward the window, gazing out at the city skyline. I want you to make a choice. Prove to me where your loyalties lie, not with yourselves, not with your ambitions, but with the Newman legacy. He pauses, then turns back, eyes blazing. There will be no half measures this time. What none of them realize is that Victor's demand is tied to something much deeper, a secret deal that could reshape the company forever. Behind closed doors, he's been negotiating with a powerful investor overseas, one who wants a piece of Newman Enterprises in exchange for an unprecedented global expansion. But the deal comes with strings attached. One heir must be named as sole successor, capable of running the company without interference. That means one Newman will please subscribe and like the video before continuing. Rise, and the others will be cut out. As the family reels, Victoria storms into her office afterward, furious. Nate Hastings, her trusted ally, follows behind. He's testing us again, she snaps. He wants to see who bows first. Nate crosses his arms. And if you don't? Then he'll hand it to Adam, she says bitterly. And I'll be damned if I let that happen. Meanwhile, Adam meets with his mother, Nikki Newman, hoping to gain insight. What's his endgame? He asks, frustration in his voice. Nikki sighs, her eyes weary. You know your father. He wants control until his last breath. He's setting a trap, Adam, be careful you don't walk right into it. Or maybe, Adam says, leaning back, it's time someone beat him at his own game. Across town, Nick confides in Sharon at Crimson Lights. He's tearing us apart again, Nick admits, rubbing the back of his neck. It's always the same cycle, competition, resentment, manipulation. Sharon looks at him softly. Maybe he's afraid, Nick. Maybe he's just trying to make sure he leaves the company in safe hands before it's too late. Nick sighs. Or maybe he just can't stand not being in charge. Back at Newman Ranch, Victor meets privately with Michael Baldwin. The lawyer, calm as ever, listens as Victor outlines his next move. I want to restructure my will, Victor says flatly. Michael arches a brow. That's a serious step. Are you sure you want to do this now? Yes, Victor replies. It's time to make things clear. No more division. No more guessing who inherits what. And you're certain, Michael presses, that this won't cause more chaos? Victor's eyes glint. Chaos keeps them sharp. In the days that follow, the Newman siblings scramble to respond to Victor's demand. Victoria doubles down at work, pulling late nights and making bold financial moves to prove her worth. Nick focuses on the company's charitable arm, emphasizing ethics and family image. Adam starts digging into Victor's deal, into the investors, into anything that could give him leverage. Abby, caught in the middle, tries to mediate, but even she feels the pull of competition. Rumors begin swirling that Victor is preparing to step down officially. Journalists and shareholders clamor for answers. When Victor finally announces a press conference, all of Genoa City holds its breath. Standing behind, please subscribe and like the video before continuing. A podium bearing the Newman Enterprises logo, Victor's gaze sweeps across the room, his children watching from the front row. I have always believed in family, he begins, his voice steady and commanding. But family must earn its power, not expect it. That's why I'm making a change. Cameras flash as he continues. Effective immediately, I am dividing Newman Enterprises into 3 divisions, each led by one of my children. At the end of the fiscal year, only one division will remain. The strongest. The one that proves it can lead this company into the future. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Victoria's eyes widen. Nick's jaw tightens. Adam smirks faintly, though even he looks surprised. Victor finishes his statement with a chilling final line. By next year, there will be only one heir to the Newman throne. And it will be the one who earns it. The fallout is instant. The Newmans are thrown into a storm of competition and paranoia. Board members scramble to align themselves with whichever sibling they think will win. Nate and Audra clash as Victoria tightens control of her branch. Nick tries to hold on to his principles, but the pressure mounts as profits dip. Adam, meanwhile, thrives in the chaos, manipulating data and people with his trademark cunning. But as the competition intensifies, Victor's true motive begins to surface. Behind the scenes, he isn't just testing their business acumen, he's testing their character. He wants to see who will sacrifice integrity for ambition, who will betray family for victory. He's forcing them to face the same moral crossroads that defined his own life. Weeks pass, and the tension in Genoa City reaches a breaking point. Victoria confronts Victor in his office late one night, her voice trembling with anger. "You're destroying us," she says. "You think this will make us stronger, but all you're doing is tearing your children apart." Victor looks up slowly. "If you can't survive this, you don't deserve it." "You don't mean that," she says. "Don't I?" he replies, his voice like steel. The next day, Nick has his own confrontation with their father. "What happened to family first?" he demands. "You've turned us into enemies." Victor's expression softens for the briefest moment. "Sometimes," he says quietly, "enemies make better leaders than children." Meanwhile, Adam uncovers the shocking "please subscribe and like the video before continuing" truth about Victor's overseas partner. It's none other than Jordan, the woman tied to the Newman family's past chaos. She's been operating under an alias, seeking revenge by infiltrating the company from the inside. Adam rushes to confront his father, demanding answers. Victor listens silently, then says, "I knew. I wanted to see who would find her first." "You used us," Adam snaps. "You put the company, and us, in danger. And you rose to the challenge," Victor replies calmly. "That's what leadership looks like." By the end of the ordeal, the Newmans emerge battered but united. The divisions are dissolved, and Victor reveals his final move. "You've all proven yourselves," he says. "But there can be only one leader." He looks at his children, one by one. "And I've made my decision." The tension is unbearable. The new CEO of Newman Enterprises is Victoria. Adam looks furious, Nick resigned, Abby relieved. Victoria's eyes glisten, not with triumph, but with understanding. Victor places a hand on her shoulder. "You've earned it. But remember this, power means nothing if you lose yourself in it." The meeting ends, and the family disperses, each processing the outcome in their own way. Alone in his office, Victor gazes out over the city, the skyline glowing beneath him. He's won again, but he knows the victory is temporary. His demand may have secured his legacy, but it's also reminded him that even empires built on control are fragile when tested by love, ambition, and betrayal. As the lights dim at Newman Enterprises, one truth remains. In Genoa City, when Victor Newman makes a demand, it's never just a command, it's a declaration of war. Please subscribe and like the video before continuing.